Back in the days. Don't be left behind. Join the new normal of digital world. Let radio and television be at your fingertips. Get news and current events, entertainment, sports, kiddies programs, and more at your beck and call on Al-IyamoyeTv and radio. Just visit and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on all social media platforms. Then you are a global citizen. Al-IyamoyeTv and radio. Voice of the voiceless.
To be up to date on happenings around you and to make that easy for you, ladies and gentlemen, we present Freshlight, where we bring fresh newspaper headlines to the limelight. Mondays to Saturdays, 8:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. on Al-IyamoyeTv and radio. Watch, like, subscribe, and make sure your notification is activated on our YouTube channel. You can also like and comment on our pages on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Al-IyamoyeTv and radio.
Wednesday morning from this angle, and I believe it is wherever you are watching, or welcome to Freshlight on Al-IyamoyeTv and radio. Today be the 27th day in the month of September, the year 2023. And gradually the month is running to an end, and I believe you are glad about it. Today, which happened to be Holy Prophet Muhammad's birthday and also CEO Al-Iyamoye birthday. Happy birthday to the dua, and wishing all faithful Ummas a very happy Mawlud Nabi. And may the love and the joyous blessings of Prophet bring in your life positivity and happiness. Once again, welcome to Freshlight, where we get to look at national dailies, read headlines, and also give some stories. My name is Risqat. Thanks for joining.
I'm Sowole Moshood. Thanks for joining as well on Freshlight on Al-IyamoyeTv. Today being 27th day of 9th on 2023. Thank you for joining us today.
All right, on Freshlight this morning, we have in the studio, we have copies of newspaper. We have the Nation newspaper, the Punch newspaper, and the Vanguard newspaper. I will be kickstarting Freshlight with the Nation newspaper this morning. On the Nation newspaper front page, we have Obaseki asks Shaibu to drop governorship ambition. You can find this on page 2 on the Nation newspaper. Tinubu's okays purchase of 12 attack helicopters. Army aviation gets boost. You can also find this on page 6 on the Nation newspaper. Mawlud Nabi, President orders felicitate Muslims. How Abiodun is driving Faji through OGLTV. You can find this on page 6 and page 27 on the Nation newspaper. Respond to allegations, Odo Assembly tells Ayedatiwa. You can also find this on the Nation newspaper. And away from that, picking the bold headline this morning: How I will tackle inflation. Naira Forex crisis by Cardoso. You can find this on page 2 on the Nation newspaper. CBN governor, transparency compliance to rules will be upheld. You can also find this on the Nation newspaper this morning. OPS speaker orders oppose labor strike call. NLC TUC fix October 3 for indefinite strike. You can also find this on the Nation newspaper this morning. Lastly, on the Nation newspaper, INEC fixes date for Ondo governorship election. You can find this on page 27 on the Nation newspaper. All of these and many more you find on the Nation newspaper this morning.
Our first story on the Nation newspaper this morning: Obaseki asks deputy to drop governorship ambition. Edo State Governor Godwin Obaseki has agreed to reconcile with his deputy, Philip Shuaibu, but on the condition that Shuaibu drop his ambition to run for the September 2024 state governorship poll. The Nation gathered that Obaseki wants Shuaibu to do so publicly or be excluded from all government activities, including the state executive council meetings, if he failed to do so. Shuaib's ambition is at the center of the field between them. The governor is from Edo South Senatorial District, and Shuaibu is from Edo North. Obaseki is supporting Asui Igbodalu, a lawyer from Edo Central, to ensure fairness, justice, and equity. Obaseki asked deputy to drop governorship ambition, the Nation newspaper.
I was still on the Nation newspaper this morning. I'm picking my first story. House of Reps Speaker decrees security situation. House of Representatives Speaker yesterday decreed the security situation in the country. He said the situation remained precarious despite government's efforts to address the challenges. Speaker Tajuddin Abbas, in his welcoming speech to lawmakers on the first day of plenary after break, noted that nevertheless many successes have been recorded in the battle against insecurity. Also yesterday, Defense Minister Mohammed Badaru countered a claim credited to Zamfara Governor Dauda Lawal that the federal government was secretly negotiating with the bandits over the abduction of female students at the Federal University Goso. The speaker announced the disbandment of the all ad hoc committee raised to probe all issues raised by the lawmakers before they proceeded on break. To read details of this, you can pick the Nation newspaper this morning. House of Reps Speaker decrees security situation.
Lastly, on the Nation newspaper this morning, federal government needs 217 billion naira to complete 269 roads. The federal government needs 217 billion naira to complete 269 roads across the country, Work Minister David Umahi said yesterday. Some of the roads are ongoing. Majority of them are stalled for lack of funds to pay contractors to complete them, the minister said. He urged the government to raise the ministry budgetary allocation, particularly through the intervention and budgetary allocation by the National Assembly. The minister spoke of plan to engage the National Assembly to return the over 513 billion naira meant for roads, which the government used as palliative to vulnerable Nigerians to cushion the effect of petrol subsidy removal and other harsh economic conditions. Federal government needs 217 billion naira to complete 269 roads, the Nation newspaper.
Moving forward on Freshlight this morning, I will be picking another newspaper going to Vanguard newspaper. On the Vanguard news front page, we have reduced fiscal deficit by 3% of GDP. IMF charges Nigerians and others. You can find this on page 19 on the Vanguard newspaper. National security remains precarious amid numerous successes. This is coming from Speaker Abbas. You can also find this story on the page 9 on the Vanguard newspaper. NGE comments Southeast governors on security initiative. Page 8 captured this particular story. Senate clears Cardoso, 4 others are CBN governor, deputy governors. You can find this on page 8 on the Vanguard newspaper. Picking the bold headline on Vanguard newspaper, NLC TUC starts nationwide indefinite strike October 3rd. You can find this on page 5 on the Vanguard newspaper. It also had a rather story saying no meaningful dialogue with government, urge Nigerians to stockpile food items, other necessity. Direct State Council affiliates to step up mobilization. You can find all this on the page 5 on the Vanguard newspaper. And away from that, government shook 3 Nasarawa police students, abduct 1. Page 6 captured this story. Live well, be happy. Death call on us daily. Reflection on human flourishing in Nigeria 1. You can find this column on the page 5. On page 15, I beg your pardon, on Vanguard newspaper this morning. We didn't mandate anyone to negotiate with bandits. This is coming from Defense Minister. Page 9 also captured this particular story. We are committed to fighting illicit drugs. This is coming from the President Tinubu. And away from that, on insecurity, federal government boosts army operations with attack helicopters. You can find this on page 5. On page 25 on the Vanguard newspaper. Nigeria restructure or reconfigure. You can find this on the future page on the Vanguard newspaper. This is coming from Afe Babalola. And on the sports column, We have AFCON 2025-2027 host nation, and Nigerian Benin. Benin vied in forefront. You can find this on the page 29 on the sports column. Lastly, on the Vanguard this morning, we have columnist Boss Lady Ocherome Fason and Oko. They've written their column, and you can find this on the page 4, 16, 17, and 17 on the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Going into the details.
The first story on the Vanguard newspaper this morning, the bold headline: NLC TUC starts nationwide indefinite strike October 3rd. The Nigerian Labour Congress (NLC) and the Trade Union Congress of Nigeria (TUC) yesterday declared indefinite strike starting from October 3rd to force the federal government to address excruciating suffering and hardship across the country, occasioned by the removal of fuel subsidy. The resolution came despite promise by federal government to conclude wage award, which was a major demand by labor leaders. So the two labor centers, in a joint communique after both labor center held separate emergency National Executive Council (NEC) meeting, led leaders of the two bodies urged Nigerians to brace up for a long strike and use between yesterday and next Monday to stockpile foodstuff and other necessity. Though the Trade Union Congress (TUC) did not participate in the two-day warning strike embarked upon by the NLC 2 weeks ago, it has, however, resolved to team up with the NLC on indefinite strike. NLC TUC starts nationwide indefinite strike October 3rd. The Vanguard newspaper.
Still on the Vanguard newspaper, I'm picking my first story on the Vanguard newspaper. I'll be taking my trip to Lagos. Moshood, Papa, you can't evict us. Truck drivers tout their Sowole. The Lagos, despite the ultimatum by Governor Babajide Sowole of Lagos State urban sanity along the Moshood Apapa Expressway, truck drivers and touts yesterday dared the governor to evict them. It will be recalled that Governor Sowole last Friday carried out an inspection tour of the axis with an ultimatum of the truck drivers to vacate the road or face the consequences. Despite the partial compliance on Monday, the traffic situation has worsened as touts returned to the Mile 2 axis of unchallenged by the police and Lagos State Traffic Management Authority last month. The truck drivers, who claim to have settled everyone involved in the traffic management along the route, are daring the Lagos State government to address the problem by tackling the root cause and other contributory factors, adding that truck drivers are human beings too. To read details of this, you can pick Vanguard newspaper this morning. It has this headline: Moshood Apapa, you can't evict us. Truck drivers tout their Sowole. Vanguard newspaper guided to us this morning. And
lastly, on the Vanguard newspaper this morning, we didn't mandate anyone to negotiate with bandits, Defense Minister. The federal government said yesterday it didn't mandate anyone to negotiate with bandits on its behalf. Recall that the governor of Zamfara State, Dauda Lawal, had in a statement by his spokesperson, Sulaiman Bala Idris, alleged on Monday that some federal agencies were strictly negotiating with bandits terrorizing the state without his knowledge. The statement had read, and I quote, Governor Dauda Lawal wishes to call on the federal government to clarify and investigate the actions of the unscrupulous element sabotaging the ongoing fight against banditry in Zamfara. The Zamfara state government has received reports on how some federal government delegates met with different bandit groups in Bani, Magaji, Maradun, Mahaye, Aja, Bawa, and Bagiga. We didn't mandate anyone to negotiate with bandits, Defense Minister, Vanguard newspaper. I'm from down there, and we go on a short commercial break. And when we come back, we'll give you details on the Punch newspaper. Do stay with us.
Kenyans have been disappointed severally in their bid to seek greener pasture abroad. To those quack in the traveling agency business, it is a rocket science. That is not our case at Tausaf Travels and Tour. We have in-depth details on how to successfully, without stress, help you process and secure your visa to anywhere in the world. Do you want permanent residential visa, visiting and tourism visa, student visa to places like Europe, America, Asia, Africa? It's no big deal to us at Tausaf Travels and Tour. Our years of experience and expertise speaks volume for us. Let's process and secure visa for you to UK, USA, and Canada within a twinkle of an eye. We offer Hajj and Umrah services to our Muslim faithfuls. What are you waiting for? Consult us at number 9 Tausaf Central Mosque, Sholanke Street, behind Laroy Hotel, Abiola Way, Abeokuta. 0802 733 0900 or 0806 578 4060. Stop wasting money. Pay for peace of mind. Talk to Tausaf Travels and Tour.
Gbogbo aláfẹ́ tó gbayì tó fẹ́ wọṣọ yìí ṣoge tó bágbàmú ló ń kọjá lọ sí House of Zion. House of Zion, the name I know when we talk of top-notch fashion, quality materials and class. House of Zion, lẹ́tí máa rójúlówó Turkey wears, Egypt and Malaysia clothing, Dubai, àwọn designer bags lóríṣiríṣi, àwọn ìtẹ̀lẹ̀ bàtà tó jiná tí wọ́n fawọ́ original ṣe, àwọn aago kájọ́ tó ń ka wákàtí ọjọ́, designer sunglasses and perfumes, pẹ̀lú àwọn gbogbo nǹkan tóbìnrin àsìkò fi ń gbafẹ́ lò gbà. Mo débẹ̀ ojú mi ń ṣe kámi, èmi ni ó rà, èmi ni ó mú. Gbogbo ẹ̀yin mùsùlùmí ẹlẹ́sìn tẹ́ gbòógè gbọ́n pa fashion tẹ́ wá nílò jàlábíà, hijab àti àbáyà lóríṣiríṣi. House of Zion lẹ́ò ti rí gbogbo ẹ̀ rà. House of Zion wà ní 52 Ọlọ́run ṣògo road adjacent Redeemed Church Agape Parish Ọlọ́run ṣògo Abẹ́òkúta. Lórí Instagram House of Zion 08165688618. House of Zion, ilé ìtajà tá a ti ń tojúlówó aṣọ àti nǹkan aṣaralóge tí ń gbéni níyì.
Welcome back from that short commercial break. I'm still glad to know you are still there. I'll see Freshlight this morning, and we've gone through the Vanguard newspaper. We've also gone through the Nation newspaper. Picking the last newspaper of the day on Freshlight today, we have the Punch newspaper. On the front page of the Punch newspaper, we have Cardoso to clear dollars debt, suspend intervention loan. You can find this on page 11 on the Punch newspaper. 4 car orders import gobbed $46 billion annually. The report is coming from the federal government, and you can also find this on page 19 on the Punch newspaper this morning. Still on the indefinite strike, OPS kicks as Labour vows to shut down airport. Orders Tuesday. You can find this on page 2 on the Punch newspaper. FG Labour leaders meeting holds Tuesday. Tinubu to unveil workers package October 1st. MAN other ones of massive economic losses. Government food dragging on workers' demand. This is coming from NLC. Okay, and away from that, we move to Eid al-Malud. Pray for Nigeria, Tinubu tells Muslims. You can also find this on page 25 on the Punch newspaper. And away from that, landlord bath 11-year-old with hot water. To read this sad story, you can pick page 5 on the Punch newspaper this morning. INEC unveils Ondo-Edo polls timetable. Page 7 captured this. All of these and many more stories you'll find on the Punch newspaper. Going into the details.
The first story on the Punch newspaper this morning, Cardoso to clear dollar debts, suspend interventions loan. The new governor of Central Bank of Nigeria, Al-IyamoyeTv Cardoso, has said he will prioritize clearing the Apex Bank's backlog of unsettled foreign exchange obligation in the near term. He said this on Tuesday during the screening section of members of the Senate. Cardoso promised to enhance transparency, fix corporate governance, and ensure confidence in the autonomy and the integrity of the bank. He said, and I quote, "We need to promptly find a way to take care of that. It will be naive for us to expect that we will be making too much progress if we are not able to handle the side of the foreign exchange market." He said, The new CBN governor said it will maintain price stability, revert to evidence-based monetary policy, and discontinue its predecessor unorthodoxy monetary policy to booster the country's naira currency. Cardoso to clear dollars debts, suspend interventions loan. The Punch newspaper.
Picking my first story on the Punch newspaper, Eid Maluk pray for Nigeria. President tells Muslims. President Bola Tinubu on Tuesday urged Muslims nationwide to pray for Nigeria, which he said is an important junction as his government takes all necessary measures to take the country secure and economically viable. We need the full support of the citizenry in the form of patriotism, patience, and prayers. Tinubu appealed in a statement signed by his special advisor on media and publicity, and during Gilale, titled Eid al-Malud. I beg your pardon. Titled Eid al-Malud, imbibe the virtues of Prophet Muhammad. Tinubu urges Muslims. Tinubu congratulated Muslims in Nigeria and beyond on this year's Eid al-Malud celebration, charging them to live by the teaching of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said, beyond celebrating the day marking the birthday of the Holy Prophet, the period should be used for deep introspection and fervent prayer. Adherents should make deliberate effort to adhere to the teaching of Prophet Muhammad. There are great lessons of devotion, perseverance, tolerance, humility, and selflessness that we can all learn from the life of the Prophet. The president further said he urged religious leaders to use the period to pray for the country and to encourage their followers to take appropriate lessons from the Prophet Muhammad's life in their commitment to the country. To read this, you can pick Punch newspaper this morning. It has this headline: Eid al-Malud, pray for Nigeria, President tells Muslims.
And lastly, from my side here on the Punch sports column, Napoli under fire after Oshime's mockery. Serie A champion Napoli are under serious attack from football followers, who deemed a video posted on club official TikTok handle as mocking Nigeria international Victor Osimhen for missing a penalty on Sunday. Osimhen, who was the club top scorer last season as the Partenopian, won the Scudetto after 3 decades, missed the penalty that denied Napoli a big chance to win all 3 points against Bologna on Sunday. And with just 4 minutes to end the game, the Super Eagles striker was substituted for Giovanni Simeone. Not happy with the substitution, Osimhen expressed his anger as Napoli coach Rudi Garcia as he walked away to the bench. Osimhen has since sent his apologies to the coach and his teammates over his action, but on Tuesday, the official TikTok of the team, which had posted a video 3 days ago referring Osimhen to a coconut head, posted another video showing Nigerian for missing the penalty against Bologna. Napoli under fire after Osimhen mockery. The Punch sports column this morning.
And lastly, on the Punch newspaper this morning, INEC unveils Edo Polls timetable. The Independent National Electoral Commission has fixed September 21st, 2024 for the Edo State governorship election, while that of Odo State will be held on November 16, 2024. The electoral body said the announcement was in line with Section 178, Subsection 2 of the Constitution, stipulating that election into the said offices shall be held not earlier than 150 days and not later than 30 days before the expiration of the tenure of the last holder of the office. Similarly, Section 28, Subsection 1 of the Electoral Act 2022 requires INEC to publish the notice for election not later than 360 days before the date of the election. In a statement by its chairman, Information and Voter Education Committee, Sam Olumekun, on Tuesday, INEC noted that the tenure of the governors of Edo and Odo State will end on November 11, 2024 and February 23, 2025 respectively. The Edo governorship election will hold on Saturday, September 21, 2024. Party primaries will hold from February 1 to 24. of 2024. While the submission of the list of nominated candidates via the online portal will start at 9 a.m. on the March 4, 2024 and close at the 6 p.m. on the March 2024. To read this, you can pick the Punch newspaper this morning. INEC unveils Ondo Edo Post timetable. Punch newspaper punches it out this morning, and this is where we call it a wrap on the Freshlight this morning. Before we go, we need to greet our father, our CEO, the person of Sheikh Abdulwasil Tahir.
Happy birthday, long life and prosperity. More of it on earth, alive in gold, health and wealth. Happy birthday to you, sir.
I wish you have a fulfilling years ahead. I wish you a belated birthday. Happy birthday once again. My name remains Risqat.
I'm Sowole Moshood.
Do enjoy the rest of your day.